Hi guys, Debbie DuBois here again for another video. We are going to do our weekend Oracle Outlook. So this is going to be for Saturday, November 24th and Sunday, November 25th. And we are going to find out what some of the work we are doing as Twin Flame Sacred Partners and those of us on a catalytic heart awakening path. We are going to look at what it is that we need to focus on this weekend in order to move forward on our spiritual journey. So the first thing that we're going to do is to give this a bit of shuffle. I haven't done a lot of shuffling of my cards before we started, so we might do just a little bit more than we normally would. And I will take the opportunity right now while I'm shuffling. These are the Shamanic Healing. It's a Shamanic Healing deck, and this is from Michelle Montuza's, I believe it's Montuza's. This was a deck that Marla introduced me to that I really absolutely love. While I am shuffling these cards, I do want to remind everybody that December 9th is our Twin Flame New Paradigm Relationships workshop that is going to be from 1 o'clock until 5 o'clock. It's a 4-hour workshop, and there will be a link in the in the text. So if you're interested in signing up, that is coming up sooner than you might imagine. I'm doing all of the setup for it, and if you have already ordered a seat, I will be getting out the instructions on how to participate in the workshop. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're each going to take a topic, and I think this week I might actually put out a poll and find out what you guys are interested for me, what you might be interested in hearing from me based on the stuff that, you've seen of mine or read of mine, and yeah, we'll go from there. So anyways, please don't forget that. And I guess we'll get started. All right, so we're going to look at the Shamanic Healing deck. We're going to go ahead and give it a cut. And we're going to find out what is the main theme that we are going to be working on. I want one card only, please. First card that I see is the one I'm going to choose. What is it that we, in the catalytic heart awakening process, okay, the first card that came up, we're just going to go, well, you know what? I'm going to take both of these cards because I feel very much that they're going together. And look at this. They are consecutive. I've used this deck quite a bit. The first card that we have is growth. And I'm not sure in terms of my lighting exactly how to make sure that I get these cards for you to see. That is growth. All right? Interesting. And look at that. It almost has the Thanksgiving feel to it with the two little acorns. And notice there's pairs of acorns and pairs of leaves. I tend to think that this has something to do with pairing. Look at, we almost have, I want to say like the yin and the yang colors even in the two leaves, although it's not white and black, but you see what I'm saying. You've got, the contrast, and then you've got the sets of acorns, and this is a 38, which is an 11. 38 card is an 11. So the other card that came out with it, and I'm going to go ahead and say for some of you, there might be some emotional release involved in this. All right, so we're looking at some emotional growth. Well, it could be emotional growth. That was kind of an interesting way to say it. This is growth and emotional release. So let's see how these two. I'm going to try this because I've not in my own readings ever really tried two cards, but we're going to go ahead and find out now a little bit about what we're going to be working on. You always love to see that emotional release, don't ya? It's like, oh yay, goody, more emotional release. Can't wait to get started on that. All right, so anyways, the first thing that we're going to look at is we're going to take a look at what we need to surrender. And I promised that the last time I did a reading, I was going to go ahead and deliver up what these cards are. This is the Power of Surrender cards by Judith Orloff. And I like to use these cards as kind of, it gives me an idea of what I can focus on in terms of release and surrender. And since it does look like there's emotional release in our future for the weekend, this will kind of give us an idea of what we might need to release in order to grow a little bit. So we're going to give it a little shuffle here. And hey, I gotta stop and say I had a really super good Thanksgiving weekend. I hope you all did too. I made a vow to myself that I was going to take some time. I've been working really hard with the, I guys might know I have a digital marketing company, and then I do this kind of as like my mission and service. It's funny how they come together though. I've actually started doing more and more websites for light workers, which is incredible. I just did a Reiki one. I'm looking at another possible healing. Another healer is looking at a website, so that's been kind of fun. But I decided that it's actually my birthday today, and I decided that today was going to be my day where I absolutely did nothing. So it was a lot of fun. I actually got a new couch this week, and I got a fire going. I put some lights on the Christmas tree. Of course, that's me doing nothing. And then I sat and I started watching a television show. One of those series or whatever, binge watched like a couple of episodes. It was so nice. So that was the way I'm starting my weekend on a Friday night. But anyways, I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I don't know about you guys, but I actually stayed in the moment of now. I stayed in the moment of now, and I really tried to just allow everything to just flow. So it was kind of nice. Didn't do any emotional releasing, which was kind of nice. And I don't like to hear that we might have some coming up this weekend. No! All right, so let's look at one card only, please. We want to find out what we need to surrender in order to grow. What is it that we need to surrender? I can hear them saying, surrender your tight hands on this deck, Debbie. I always hear, it's funny because I always hear Katumi. Katumi's always going, how are we supposed to pop the deck if you just keep on shuffling with those hands so tight? It's funny. All right. Oh, this is a good one for me. Surrender your desire to control people. And I hate to say that, but I really am a control freak. And a lot of people might not know that about me because I tend to be a real people person. I don't tend to be super direct, well, to most people in general, but the people that are around me on a regular basis, they know that, I tend to have to do a lot of releasing around control. That's usually the hardest thing. So for me, when I see this, surrender your desire to control people when it comes to a relationship, listen to this, being over controlling can sabotage relationships. To more effectively achieve your goals, back off, regroup, and give the situation some room to breathe. Now, this is a great card for twin flames. It's a great card for anyone in relationships because, I don't know. I studied A Course in Miracles a long time ago. And gosh, it went all the way back in 1992, I think is when I was avidly studying it. And I remember the control is the more you try to control things, the more you really work against yourself. So in trying to control situations and prevent things from happening or whatever, more often than not, you end up sabotaging it. You end up, doing what you would defend against. And I like to think, that relationships, it's like the most important thing in relationships is giving the other person the complete right to be where they're at, when they're at, when they're at that place. And also for you to be able to take your hands off the steering wheel a little bit because it's like our entourage, those beings that are walking with us, our angels, the ascended masters, they all have something to contribute. They all have an ear to whisper in. They all have, magical songs to put on when someone's, listening to the radio, and we have so much influence on the other side, guys. So sometimes our desire to control other people is really hindering the growth of a situation. So now emotional release might come around if you're in a situation where you really are trying to control the situation. You might just get a little bit of a slap from, I want to say the other person, the partner, or just another person that says, hey, I don't like this, and that might trigger you for an emotional release of some kind. Or maybe having the inability to control a situation that you really want to control. So that may be where an emotional release can come in for some of you. Let's go ahead and look at what is the purpose of this thing that we're working on, which is growth. And these cards are Doreen Virtue's Life Purpose Oracle cards. And these are actually some of my favorite cards. First of all, I think they're beautiful. Absolutely love this. I'm a person that's a lot of purples and stuff, but I absolutely love these green cards. There's something about them. So this is, what is the purpose behind this growth? What is it that we're working on this weekend as we try to surrender our control over situations and people specifically that's going to contribute to growth? Let's take a look and find out. Let's see. All right, so we give it a good shuffle, and let's give it a good cut. Let's see, one card only, please. I really like one card only. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But, all right, so let's find out. Oh, there it is. See if anything else happens. Nope, that was it. Interesting, children. So this weekend, it's saying your life purpose involves helping, teaching, or healing children. All right. Well, I want to say this. A lot of you, if you have children or if you have people that you are, I want to say parenting, they aren't necessarily children. I happen to be parenting my mother-in-law, parenting right now. And I'll tell you what, there's a big, big desire to control that situation for me personally. So this doesn't have to be just children. It can be anyone that you feel responsible for. Someone that you feel like it's up to you to make them happy or to create a better situation for them. It's where you feel responsible. And, again, sometimes when we feel really responsible for people, we have this desire to control the situation and control them, because it's kind of like if we can't control how the situation's going, then we can't feel like we're accomplishing what we're trying to accomplish, which is either making them happy or feeding them properly or getting them to bed on time or whatever those things are. But I know that a lot of you have children. If you don't have children, you probably have pets. Almost everybody has somebody that they're taking care of. If it's not children, and if it is, for some of you, your grown children may, need a little bit of healing and things of that nature. Maybe they're doing some things right now that are maybe not in their best interests. And you might be like frustrated and want to control the situation a little bit and maybe even tell them a little bit what to do. But this weekend is about growth. Now, some of you may absolutely, if you can't control the situation or the person and they are childlike and you're dealing with childlike issues, you may have a little bit of a release of emotion, maybe either frustration at the responsibility that you're carrying for this person, so it might be that kind of emotional response. It might be anger because no one's listening to you when you're trying to help them. It could be just, I don't know, maybe your child wants to do something that you really don't want them to do, and you're kind of stuck because they're determined that they're going to do something and you can't really do anything to change their mind. And you may find yourself getting emotionally released on that. So again, it does seem to revolve around controlling people that you're responsible for, or people that you feel that you're responsible for. Because I'm getting a strong message that a lot of you feel it's up to you to make the world perfect for other people. And it's been really hard because you can't fix people's reality. You can't tell them what to do. You can only be the way shower. And you can show your boundaries. Healthy boundaries is another way. You know, if you want to control your situation, one of the best ways to do that is to control your boundaries. What will you accept? What will you allow? You know, sometimes in dealing with childlike behavior, sometimes even in, as we say here, healing children, some of that, instead of trying to control them, is actually using boundaries of your own. So if you have boundaries of your own, then you can control just, it's like you don't tell them what to do, but you say, this is what I'm willing to accept, and this is what I'm not willing to accept. And then it's up to them to decide, but at least you've put out a blueprint for them to follow of what is acceptable and what isn't. So boundaries, and you may get a little bit, I want to say, ticked off. You know, you may have to get a little bit upset. But the more you know how to draw your boundaries, I think, again, boundaries are a big thing that we're working on right now. The more you draw your boundaries, the more you are likely to, oh, you know what I just realized, and I'm going to do this right now? Hey, everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to. I like to take the book. When I get the cards that come up, there's always additional information besides the information that comes up. And I always, for my own readings, I always go and read them. So I'm just going to just break protocol here and go back, which I can do because this is a reading that I wanted to do for you guys. All right, so let's look at growth. This situation or time is one of rapid growth. Well, no kidding. The seeds that have been planted have germinated and taken root. Go with the flow of this growing time. You may find people and situations falling away from your life as now they do not serve who and what you are becoming. This is one of the things that happens when you start setting boundaries. When you set boundaries, certain people are going to start moving away because they don't like your boundaries. So it may be that your vibration no longer resonates with theirs. It's okay. Wish them well and be grateful for what they brought to you and you to them, and send them on their way. Room has now been made for new experiences, people, and situations that will help you get to the next level. So this is interesting. Some of the stuff we're talking about in this particular use of growth, that number 11 being, I would say this extra emphasis on how important this is. We're trying to go to the next level, and going to the next level requires us to move beyond certain, it's funny because this is control dramas. We need to move past some of the things that we've worked on in the past. And when you set the boundaries, like with children, when you set the boundaries with those people in your life that, can tend to be childlike, a lot of times, they may just actually step back and, sort of fade off too. If you're not feeling this shift right now, be prepared because it will be coming soon. Well, this is a reading for this weekend. So I would say that is very likely happening this weekend. And then emotional release. Let's just take a look at it and see if it throws any extra light on this. This is in 37, which is a 10. All right. We all want to be strong. As humans, we value strength and independence, but also as humans, we need the support of our family, our friends, and our tribe. Right? Trying so hard to be strong, pushing down emotions such as fear, anger, betrayal, sadness, only forces them to grow and become stronger. The bubbling up and the release that eventually takes everyone involved by surprise, and sometimes does harm. Wait a minute, let me back up on that. The bubbling up and release that eventually comes takes everyone involved by surprise and sometimes does harm in terms of hurt feelings and words that can't be taken back. Getting into the practice of voicing your feelings, even if it's just acknowledging them to yourself. Journal, create, dance, find a way that you can safely feel your most feared emotions, feel them and let them go. All right, so that's what I guess I was talking about. You know, when I'm talking about drawing your boundaries, and we tend to want to tell other people what to do sometimes, like, well, this is what I need you to do. Well, this is, if you would just do this, this would really work for me. I call it the compromising in relationships. Well, if you do this and I do this, then we'll get along just fine. All right, which is really trying to tell the other person what to do. If you can instead decide what it is you want, and then, like with children, draw your boundaries. This is what I will and will not accept, and I will voice them. Then you tend to have those people fall away from you that are not going to deliver up that vibration. So if they can't deal with your boundaries and they need to move past your boundaries, they need to go. All right? They're not ready for where you're going, and you are moving to the next level. So, and I cannot tell you how important this emotional release piece is in all this, because from a standpoint, I cannot tell you how many times in sacred partnership and other things, I have just found myself like pushed to the place where I cannot hold my tongue anymore. I think a lot of us don't want to rock the boat. Oh, if I just don't say this, or if I don't do this, everything is going to be good. Guess what? Sometimes, especially in catalytic heart awakening relationships, that is not possible. It is impossible to keep your emotions inside. What's really interesting is when this happens and all the truth comes pouring out and you're like, oh my God, what did I just do? And all that. Do you know? Almost in every case, it had to happen. It needed to happen. Sometimes it happens with that person. Sometimes it happens just on your own space and you're mad at yourself because you allowed yourself to go there and feel that. It needs to happen. Sometimes you need to get to that emotional place and release it. And sometimes you're going to say things that hurt people. And sometimes you're going to have to go back maybe and say, you know what, I'm really sorry, but this is why I said what I said. This is what I needed to say. And how you take what I say is completely up to you. Again, that's boundaries. So it's a way to control your own reality without trying to control other people. All right. Let's take a look at the Romance Angel cards. These are Doreen Virtue, Romance Angel. Let's see how this is going to affect your union. All right. How is this going to affect your union? Whether you're in a union with a twin flame or you're in a union with a soulmate, you know, that whatever it is that you've chosen, how does this growth and this going to this next emotional, not emotional place, but where does this next level take you? And why do we want to work on this? What's it going to bring us in terms of the love relationships? And you know, some of you are actually like close to union. Others of you are like really happy where you're at. And I know many of you are actually kind of experimenting with soulmate relationships. And that is great. That's wonderful, because whatever it is you've got going on right now is moving you to the next level. So it's there for your good. It's there for your benefit. Let's see what the cards say about how this weekend is going to affect this connection, whoever this connection is. All right. We're going to ask for one card only, please. It reminds me of the movie Hunt for Red October. One king only, please. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that. It's one of my favorite movies ever. All right. Heart-to-heart conversations. Well, isn't that interesting? So some of you may be having heart-to-heart conversations, honestly discussing your feelings with each other. You know, isn't that interesting? Isn't that part of boundary drawing? Isn't that possible of emotional releases coming up? You may say, whoa, I'm done, whatever. But you the heart-to-heart conversations, what I think of in terms of heart-to-heart conversations is actually like saying what you need to say, the boundaries, the communication. This is where I'm coming from. These are the things that I need to say. And when you say them and you say, I needed to say this, and what you decide to do with that is completely, entirely up to you. And then you can't be attached to the outcomes to that. It's almost like we actually control our reality through the boundaries that we set. I'm trying to get that glare off of that card. The boundaries that we set and in speaking our honest truth. But then once we draw that boundary, it's up to the other person what they want to do with that. But our strength comes in standing in that truth of what we really feel, where we're really at any given time. So there may be some honest discussions about feelings, about your feelings, and that will lead to some growth in the situation. All right, let's see how this is going to contribute to finances. This is the Abundance, Angels of Abundance Oracle cards, again, Doreen Virtue. I really do love her cards. I don't know why, but this one deck is very, very hard to shuffle. It's like the cards want to stick together, and I want to say, guys, can you, like, reproduce this deck? But we'll go ahead and shuffle them anyways. They're really good cards in terms of, I love the messages. Oh, by the way, I do want to say that I just ended up getting myself some lights, like for lighting shots and stuff. You guys know I do a lot, like I like to do a lot of videos. In fact, I do videos in my business, but I just invested in some equipment. So I think that the next reading that I do, which will be uploaded on Sunday, may have a different set, and I'm gonna experiment. I love all this stuff. It's part of my upbringing. I actually was a video director at one point, a long time ago, when it cost a fortune. I don't know, $10,000 per finished minute or something for videos, and but I'm excited. It's like part of my taking things to a new level. All right, so we cut the cards. Now we're just gonna go ahead. We're gonna give them a shuffle. One card only, please. Let's see what card comes out for, let's see how this whole thing is going to affect abundance. This card was pretty, ooh, okay. It's safer for you to receive. All right. Let's see what we've got here. The more you allow yourself to receive, the more resources you will have available to share with others. Open your arms to receive and be a conduit for the good coming to you and through you as it blesses the world. Well, this is about taking things to the next level, right? So we're taking things to the next level, and by doing that, we're actually going to get to a place where we are more able to receive. And the more we can receive, the more that we have available to share with others. And I think a lot of us are very, very motivated by sharing with others. I know a lot of the light workers in the light worker community we're always looking at, you know, how can we make things better for other people? Well, one of the ways to do that is to get to a place where you can receive abundance in all its myriad of forms. And this is what's coming with taking things to the next level. Now, where the emotional release may come in is if for some reason you feel stuck in this area, you don't feel like you're receiving, and you might feel the need to throw an emotional temper tantrum of how come things aren't coming to me, how come they, you know, how come I'm not receiving the level that I'm receiving, that I'm getting that as a possibility. Again, this may need to be boundaries. This may be you're giving too much. If you're giving too much and you're not allowing yourself to receive from those people around you, there's an outflow and you're not allowing the inflow. So, you know, like I can see the desire, that how this plays with the desire to control other people card. Hands on the steering wheel indicates a lot of times that you don't trust that it's coming in. That you don't trust it's going to show up in the way it's going to show up. So you do have to learn how to let go of that. Let go, give that situation some breathing room, right? And if you give it some breathing room, then you will allow in more abundance, all right? The other thing is that boundaries is, you know, if you are the kind of person that gives a lot to other people, then sometimes those people get very expectant of you to continue to give to them. And that is where you may have to start teaching boundaries by literally saying no, all right? Because that, again, is an outflow that sometimes you need to stem, you need to block a little bit so that you don't outflow too much. You need to learn to receive more. So in this particular case, taking things to the next level involves opening to receiving, all right? And then you'll have more to share with those other people. All right, last thing I'm going to pull is a card from the Ascended Master to find out what they have to say about the weekend. It does sound like some of you guys are going to be having heart-to-heart conversations. It may be with your loved one. I mean, you know, it could be with your sacred partner, or it could be, it could be with the people who have been children-like in your life, where you're trying to learn how to draw some boundaries. And you know what? That person may be your twin, or maybe your, you know, your sacred partner, or it might just be, you know, your soulmate that you're involved with right now. Could be your children, but it does sound like some heart-to-heart conversations are, you know, on the way. I think that the emotional release card, it's interesting, is when things are said, sometimes we beat ourselves up, like, I don't know, I do anyways. When I say things, certain things, it's like, oh, why did I say that? Why couldn't I just not said it? Because I'm a Sagittarius and my mouth runs sometimes. But it's like almost every single time it has triggered something that needed to be said to release energy around something that somebody needed to release. So everything does happen the way it's supposed to. And, you know, understand that and allow yourself sometimes to say what is on your mind. Okay, let's just go ahead. Let's look at our Ascended Master cards. Let's just see what we got here. What's the message from the Ascended Masters over the weekend? Who's going to talk to me? Well, that was very obvious. Oh, here we go. Pallas Athena. Look at this. Detach from drama. All right, so here, again, is a boundary card. Taking things to the next level. Detaching from drama is a great boundaries card because you can't control... I want to say you can't control the homework assignments you're given. That's why I always look at drama. They're homework assignments for you. They're trying to knock you on your butt. And are you going to take it or not? And look at Pallas Athena. She's got her sword and she has her hand up and she is like, you shall not pass. You will not go there with me. And we actually do control people. If you want to look at this, control people, your desire to control people. If you can surrender controlling people and instead place your boundary and say, I'm not going there. I'm not going to do that. I will be more than happy to have a heart-to-heart conversation about the situation. All right? But I'm not doing the drama. I'm just not going to do it. There's your boundary. And in that, you definitely do control situations. You control your reality. You can't control how they perceive things. You can't control how they perceive things. But you can control your reality and what you allow to happen. All right? When you feel more in control of your own situation, then it is safer for you to open up your heart to receive, right? Because you're not afraid to do that because you know that you're safe. You're safe with boundaries. So, and you know how to put boundaries up for giving too much. This is another boundary card. Interesting. So, and it's really interesting is that the children card is sitting right there. Children, in this case, like we were talking about the different people, the people that are childish or childlike, or maybe even just a little bit lower in their vibration, or not quite as far along in the spiritual journey as you happen to be. It's all relative. It's all in a period of this moment of now. It doesn't say anything about where someone is on the overall arc of time or whatever. But when you're sitting here looking at this, one of the best ways that you can help those people is by showing them, and that's what a way shower is, showing them what boundaries look like. When you start showing up and showing your boundaries, no, you know what? I really don't think I want to do that right now. I don't think that that's in my best interest, even though you'd like me to do that. I'm not going to do that. When you show up in that way, you teach people it's okay to stand in your power. It's okay to decide what you do and do not want to do. So in a sense, you are healing those people around you by doing this. So the outcome card really is this. I always think of, the message from the Ascended Masters. Detach from the drama. This is about boundaries this weekend. It's about taking things to the next level, surrendering your desire to control those other people around you by just controlling your own reality. And you do that by establishing your boundaries, knowing what you want, going into your heart and saying, you know what? No, this is what I need right now. This is what I want right now. And you may have to have a heart-to-heart conversation with someone and say, excuse me, we need to have a little talk. But that's how, it's got to be. Now, so anyways, I think I'm going to leave it there. And I hope that this helps you. I will be doing another reading Sunday, another reading just like this one. And I'm going to go ahead and upload it Sunday night. It'll be for Monday through Friday of next week. So anyways, thank you so much for being here with me. I'm trying to think if there's anything I need to tell you. If you would like to know more about me, you can find any information. True Sacred Union is my website. True Sacred Union is me on Facebook. I have a Facebook group, True Sacred Union. I have a Facebook group, Raising Vibrational Frequencies. I have a radio show on Blog Talk Radio, The Awakening, The Awakening Collective, I believe. Oh my gosh, well, I just started that. So yes, the Awakening Collective, or the Collective Awakening. Oh my gosh, sorry guys. Yeah, that's their head blonde and me. Sorry. And please don't forget, we are doing, it's Marla Kelly, Dio Veselvanov, Kelly McKinstry, Robin Angie of Encompass Yourself, and I believe that's it. So that would be December 9th. So there's a link to that below. There's also, I'm going to put a link down there in case you want to sign up for my mailing list, in case you want to know what kind of events. I mean, we're going to be doing next year. We're really hoping to go to a couple of different cities. If you want to be the first to hear when, I have a new article come out, you can subscribe on my website for my blog. And if you haven't done so, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would love for you to be able to get these videos as they come out. These are coming out twice a week. I'll probably be adding some as well in the future. But this is a reading I do for myself every morning, and I love it. It gives me a focus for the day. So anyways, I love you guys much. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you have a super weekend, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Namaste.